Hi, folks. John Adamson with Seeking Light. And yes, I've got a hoodie on. It is chilly, and I chill easily. And so I'm sitting out at my car. Where else would I do videos? Occasionally, I do them elsewhere. But with my commitment to read to you the FAQ, frequently asked questions, related to the OSHA ETS, otherwise known as Emergency Temporary. Oh, they just blanked on the S. It'll come to me in a little bit. But anyway, keep an eye on the word temporary, because as somebody pointed out, nothing with the government's temporary. In fact, they are drafting right now a permanent solution to this, which will mimic this. So one thing to keep in mind that you should be doing, and I did so today. This was urged by Ben Shapiro on his show. Of course, he reaches a lot more people than I do. I reach a very small amount of people, but if you spread this word to your friends, like, hey, do this, I think that would be helpful. But that is to contact your senator and ask them to do a congressional review. Ask for a congressional review of the OSHA ETS. We have two liberal Democrat senators, but I'm letting them know. I let them know today that, look, I want you to do this. I'm against it. And if you don't do this, I'm going to be doing what I can to let people know that you didn't do anything about this. So even if you have liberal Democrat senators, please contact them and ask for a congressional review of the OSHA ETS. It's important to hear from a lot of people, because the greasy wheel gets the grease, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? You know, the more that we squeak, the more likely we're going to be heard. So we're on question number 2, frequently asked questions by OSHA. So they're setting the questions. My employees perform administrative support and medical billing services for the healthcare industry. Are they covered by the ETS? This is a very interesting question to me, because that's basically what I do. I work from home. I don't have an office with coworkers. So what does this say? It depends. These services are healthcare support services. The ETS generally applies in settings where any employee provides healthcare services or healthcare support services. On the other hand, one or more exceptions to the ETS might apply. Okay, so let's hear what they are. For example, the ETS does not apply to healthcare support services not performed in a healthcare setting, e.g., off-site laundry, off-site medical billing. Okay, so those are examples. So what I do would be related to what they're saying. And some of you might do that too. Moreover, even if these services are performed in a healthcare setting, other exceptions to the standard might also apply. For example, the ETS does not apply to non-hospital ambulatory care settings where all non-employees are screened prior to entry and people with suspected or confirmed COVID-19 are not permitted to enter those settings. Why do they have to make their sentences so confusing? I think it's because ambiguity. They could say this so much more clearly, I believe. The ETS does not apply to non-hospital ambulatory care services settings where all non-employees are screened. So any setting that's not a hospital ambulatory care setting, where they screen everybody not working for them before they enter, those entities are safe. So I guess if you're not doing customer business, is what they're saying. In other words, you go to your office, no customers are coming in, and you're not a hospital ambulatory care service, which if you were, you'd have people ambulating in. This sentence makes no sense. As another example, in well-defined areas where there is no reasonable expectation that any person with suspected or confirmed COVID-19 will be present, paragraphs F, personal protective equipment, H, physical distancing, and I, physical barriers of the standard do not apply to employees who are fully vaccinated. All right, so me as an unvaccinated employee, if I was working in that kind of setting, it would apply to me. Please consult paragraph A of the ETS for the ETS's full range of exceptions to determine whether your employees are covered by ETS. So, folks, one of the things I'm going to plan on doing is after going through, holy cow, there are a lot. I didn't even look at all the questions, frequently asked questions. If I do one per day, folks, it's going to take forever to get through. So I think I'm going to start doubling up, just not today. But anyway, read it. You got to read this. You got to know your protections. Because you know what's going to happen, folks? Hear me clearly on this. I've seen this before, and I know I'll see it again. Employers, and that would include your people that do your human resources, aren't going to be fully versed in this as well as they should. They'll get probably some legal help in looking at these things if they're a large company and they can afford like having their own legal counsel. But a lot of smaller companies are not going to have the ability to afford to get a detailed analysis of this and how this applies to them. And so you're going to have human resources, you're going to have presidents of agencies, upper management who are going to tell you things about this provision that just blatantly aren't true. Hear me out on that. I've seen it before. When I was in middle management, I had people in upper management telling me things that only later, after some digging, I found out weren't true, weren't accurate. So that's going to happen to you. Especially if you don't really have a dedicated legal team, and you really have a responsibility as an employee to ask them pointed questions. Like they say, okay, based on this new Biden mandate, you have to do X, Y, and Z. Ask them, where do you find that? Can you show me in the document where I have to do that or how that applies to me in the document? And if they truly know what the heck they're talking about, they should be able to bring you right to the point and understand how it applies. If they can't, then you can say, well, if you don't understand how this applies to me, how can I trust that you're applying it correctly to me? If you can't show me in the document where it says that this, that, and the other thing must be done, or it jeopardizes my employment status, how can I trust that you're giving me accurate information? So please show me in the documents where you find this. Keep in mind that this document, the OSHA ETS, is about 490 pages, is what I heard. 490. It's not even a law. When the Affordable Care Act came out, it was a little over 2,000 pages long. That's a massive, comprehensive healthcare law. And this is just an executive order, and it's almost 500 pages long. So if they're going to tell you things, they should know chapter and verse that it's accurate. But with that said, we'll continue tomorrow with question number 3 with the ETS. This is John Adamson with Seeking Light. Remember, contact your senators. Make sure they know you want a congressional review of the ETS, OSHA ETS. Make sure you stipulate that so there's no ambiguity with what you're looking for them to do. And let them know you're going to make it known if they actually do that. Put pressure on them. We have to be pressurizing this whole situation. And it's all going to boil to head at some point, and there will be an explosion at some point. How do you like that continuation of that analogy? Anyway, John Adamson with Seeking Light. Take care. God bless.